The 1980s were definitely a boom period for horror movies. Not since the 1930s was there a golden age of horror movies, but the 80s was probably the last one that really saw the horror genre branch out as much as it did, with several subgenres, including horror comedy, and the subgenre I'm going to be talking about today, horror action. This is Predator. The 1980s proved to be a pretty influential decade for horror movies. We saw many subgenres come out of the decade. One of them included horror comedy, but one of my favorites was horror action, and one of the best ones to come out of that was 1987's Predator. Predator stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, Carl Weathers, and Jesse the Body Ventura. By the time of Predator's release, Arnold Schwarzenegger had become one of the biggest names in all of Hollywood. He was the Terminator. He was the guy from Total Recall. He had it all, and this movie came out at the height of his powers. Also in there you had Apollo Creed himself, Carl Weathers, Jesse Ventura, who cannot act, but God bless him, has some brilliant one-liners, and Shane Black, who would go on to write the Lethal Weapon movies, The Nice Guys, and tank the Predator franchise completely in 2018. Yes, I still have Vietnam flashbacks because of that god-awful movie. But what I love about Predator is that it starts out as an action movie. This movie was directed by John McTiernan, who directed Die Hard, and it just starts out as just a pure action movie with Arnold, Jesse, and everyone else just going out and shooting everything in sight. But about the halfway point, the Predator shows up. And it goes from action movie to horror movie in no time flat. Predator could have easily been a Most Dangerous Game ripoff, but it turned out to be a pretty fantastic movie with masterful direction from John McTiernan and Alan Silvestri's incredible score. Like seriously, if you've only listened to his stuff for Avengers, go back and listen to his Predator score. You will not be sorry. And at the end of the day, you may not have time to bleed, but I think you should find time to watch Predator.